Hello and welcome to the Europe Conversation. I'm Stefan Grober. My guest today is Dubravka Šuica, EU Commissioner for the Mediterranean. And as a former mayor of the Croatian coastal city of Dubrovnik, she knows what she's talking about. Commissioner, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me today.
So let's kick it off with the new Pact for the Mediterranean that the European Commission presented a few weeks ago. What is the pact all about and why should we take it seriously?
The pact is genuine pact, which means it's not only yet another document, it is pact which we want to have with southern neighbors. We already had different documents, agendas, so on, but this time we want to have a real partnership, and we want to have these people as partnerships of equal, which means that we changed approach this time. We asked these people and we consulted all 10 member states plus Gulf countries. And we didn't consult only governments, but also think tanks, academia, non-governmental organizations in order to have this pact. Because at one stage, people in the Mediterranean felt a little bit left behind because our highlight was on Ukraine, Georgia, Moldova, Western Balkans.
Yeah, you were just alluding to it, that we're already 30 years ago with the beginning of the Barcelona process, then was the Union for the Mediterranean, the new agenda for the Mediterranean. None of these things yielded any sizable results. Why should we be looking forward to seeing something different now?
We put people at the center. We consulted people. And we are talking about economies, how to invite European companies to invest in that part of the world in order to develop them. So we are changing paradigm. They are not only receivers of our donations, but we want to help them to develop their industries, to develop their countries, and to open new jobs. By opening new jobs, we are somehow tackling root causes of migration. So we are opening legal pathways for those who want to come to Europe, but at the same time we are opening new jobs for these young people. You know that I'm also in charge of demography, so it is very important to put demography in balance. You know that they are booming in that part of the world. We are shrinking here in Europe, so it is very important to balance this. So by having these people here in Europe, it's not to create brain drain there. It's to have brain circulation, and it's to give opportunity for those who are skilled and who are educated to come here, but at the same time to stay in their countries and to develop their countries. It's, in fact, completely new philosophy around Mediterranean. You know that we need energy. You know that we want to change to renewable energies. You know that we want to decarbonize the region. So if we decarbonize the region from this side, France, Spain, Italy, Greece, Cyprus, but if we don't use the same standards in the southern part of the Mediterranean, then the sea and the Mediterranean region will be polluted again. So we want to, by doing all this, we have win-win-win-win situation, opening new jobs, developing these countries, decarbonizing the region, so everything is there.
There are critics out there who have already said that this project is dead on arrival by pointing to the various countries that we're talking about here. So take Libya, for instance, where the Russians and the Turks are major players. Take Algeria, Lebanon, Tunisia, who haven't shown any interest in Europe. And then Morocco, with which Brussels is sort of at loggerheads over the Western Sahara. Don't we have too much on our plate here? Are these interests just too different?
I can reply with counter question. Who, if we are not there? So who will be there? So we understand that there is China, there is Russia, there are countries who have interest in this part of the world, but Europe wants to be present. And we are saying that, you know, that we are always paying and we are the biggest payers to these countries. We don't want to be only payers, we also want to be players. And this is why we are changing now. Of course, it's not easy always, but we will do our best. You know that we have strategic partnership agreements with Egypt, with Tunisia. We signed one with Jordan, We are now just about to sign deeper strategic partnership with Morocco because they are our neighbors and we want to be present there. And this is what we have been doing. Of course, it's not always easy. So I won't say that the project is dead. On the contrary, we will, of course, not celebrate, but mark 30th anniversary of Barcelona Declaration on the 28th of this month, and this will be the moment to present this pact to 10 southern neighbors, but also to 27 European member states. So it's up to us. It's up to us.
So Ursula von der Leyen has said that the Commission's goal is progressive integration. Now, that seems a bit distant today. Can you name a few very concrete things about of why people should be excited about this?
So, of course, it's not about integration, but economic integration could come out from our cooperation with them. So it's also about skills and education. One of the most important flagship projects for me would be Mediterranean University. What is my goal? My goal is, and the goal of my colleagues, is to establish alliance or network of Mediterranean universities, starting from Beirut to Alexandria, Fez, Marseille, Barcelona, Naples, and Greece. So to have curricula on Mediterranean at the existing universities. So we don't want to build new premises, but we want to connect young people from the region. By connecting young people, by studying about their background, about culture, heritage, about religion, we can come closer. And this is our main goal, because Mediterranean, we want to have Mediterranean as the bridge, not as the conflict zone, which is at the moment. So we want to change the situation, and this is exactly why we are turning our attention to the Mediterranean. It's not only Mediterranean, it's also Gulf countries, although they are not geographically Mediterranean, but we badly need Gulf countries to have, we need them on board in order to have peace and security in the Mediterranean, of course. So this is something which we are trying to establish. Of course, it's also about migration. I don't want to shy away from migration, but we want to stop migration by doing this, by helping young people to develop and by helping young people to be part of this process. There are many projects. For example, in Egypt. In Egypt, we pledged, European companies pledged, after we signed this comprehensive partnership agreement, we pledged 49 billion euros investments in Egypt. So same goes for Tunisia. In Jordan, we are just about to start some projects. So this is something which is ongoing. Morocco, you mentioned Morocco and Western Sahara. We found a solution, and we are on good terms with our colleagues in Morocco, and we are looking forward to deepening this agreement.
Speaking of solutions, and let me now pivot to the Middle East, which is also part of the Mediterranean family. And I'm talking about, of course, the first meeting of the new group being established by the EU to support Palestinians, the Palestinian Authority, and the reconstruction of the Gaza Strip. Tell us about this group. Who is in it, and what's happening next?
First of all, you know that we are trying to strengthen the Palestinian Authority, and this is our main goal. This is the reason why we invested from 2021 to 2024 1.3 billion euro, and now there is a new reform matrix program for this year, next year, and 27, 1.6 billion euro. Of course, this money will be dispersed upon conditions. Of course, conditions are reforms which they are obliged to do. What we are trying to do, there will be a Palestine donor group, and it will be established by the Commission in co-ownership with the Palestine Authority. So I will be chairing this group together with Mustafa, Prime Minister of Palestine. So Palestine Donor Group is a new platform where we will discuss their reforms. We will discuss what we can do to empower them, to encourage them to be stronger than they are at the moment. Of course, Hamas is out of question. We don't talk to these people, only to the people of the Palestine Authority. So there will be, at this moment, so far as I know, there will be 60 participants, all 27 member states, plus plus the region, and some other people who were invited from our partner countries and allies. So we will be trying to show that Palestine Authority can at one point, or could at one point, take over some of the services in the country, not only in West Bank, but also later in Gaza.
Now, the Palestinian Authority is a kind of a controversial body, if I may say. The Gulf states, for example, that you mentioned, they don't trust it. How do you get along with these guys, and how do you pressure the Palestinian Authority to implement reform, good governance, transparency, fight against corruption, etc.?
We need solutions. We have Hamas. We don't want to talk to Hamas. Then we need some regular authority, which is Palestine Authority for us. And as I told, the money which we are investing there is conditioned. And it's all the money which we pay for Palestine Authority is done under Pegasus mechanism, which means that none or no cent is being disbursed without conditions, reforms, and this is what we have been doing. So who, if we don't have them, so who will be in Palestine? We need someone. Also Israel, they need someone to talk. So who will sit at the table once the situation allows? Who will sit at the table? Palestine Authority plus Israel, but they need to be reformed, and this is our precondition.
To say that the EU is divided over the Gaza situation is a kind of an understatement. So there are some countries that have recognized a Palestinian state, others haven't. Does that complicate your job and getting reconstruction going?
Of course, it would be much easier if all of them recognize, but it won't change the situation. We have to reconstruct Gaza, but not only us. Europe cannot do it alone. This is why I said we need Gulf countries, but we also need American administration. And this is something which we have to be open and clear on it. So now, as you know, we have this 20 points program, which means that we have to move forward. And this is the only way. Of course, we need Israel to have on board. We need them to release tax revenues for Palestine people, which is not the case. We need many different commitments also from Israel. Of course, they are not in favor of two-state solution, but little by little they need to say what do they want in the end.
That ceasefire agreement that was established under the auspices of the Trump administration stipulates a board of peace. Will the EU have a seat at that table?
If we talk about fair play, then we should have a seat in this peace board for sure, because, as I said, we are the biggest, not only donors, but the biggest payers, and we are the ones who are involved, and they are our neighbors. We are the closest neighbors. So I think that we should have a place in this board.
Which basically means Trump hasn't said, sit over here.
Let's see.
Yet.
Let's see. This will happen.
Do you have, when talking about the reconstruction of Gaza, do you have an idea about the timeline, about the money that needs to be moved and invested, ballpark number?
It was not by coincidence that Gulf countries are mentioned, so we need Arab countries, Gulf countries to be on board. We need them to invest, and I'm sure that they will do it. Of course, we will also do our part, but Europe cannot do it alone, as I told you. And we are looking forward to this ceasefire to hold first. If this ceasefire holds, then we can talk about reconstruction, and I think that there will be a lot of money from different world financial institutions who will come on board. It's also about World Bank, it's about European Investment Bank, it's about EBRD. So all institutions should be on board.
Now, all of this can only work if Israel and Hamas respect the ceasefire agreement that we just talked about. I think the most crucial point here is the disarmament of Hamas. Will Hamas render the weapons? Do you see this coming anytime soon?
I cannot tell you whether this will happen or not, but I think that this should happen, because without laying down the weapons from Hamas side, I don't think that there will be a ceasefire. So I'm sure that the world should pressure, not only us for European Union, but also Americans should pressure Hamas to do it.
Commissioner, you're also in charge of demography, and I've looked at the description of your official mission, and it says there that you're responsible for, and I quote, steering the implementation of the demography toolbox to help member states address their demographic challenges. So what is in your demographic toolbox?
There is a lot. First, it's about women and families who should be in the labor market. When we talk about demography here in Europe, we talk from a competitive angle, because we are not talking about birth rates, mortality rates. It's member state competence according to the treaty. But we have to, at this moment, there are 8 million European women who are not in the labor market because they have to take care about their kid or about their parent. So we want to have all women in the labor market. Second, we want to have all youngsters to be in the labor market, not anymore those not in education, not in employment, so-called needs. But the problem is that they have diploma, but their diploma don't match to the needs of the labor market. We have new jobs, digital jobs, artificial intelligence, and green jobs. So they need to be adapted, and this is the reason why we reskill and upskill them. Then there is a key problem, which is if we retire too early. If we retire too early, we create brain drain. So this is also member state competence. You know what happened in France when they started changing this pension age, gilet jaune, from 62 to 64. But since we live longer, we live 10 years longer in the last 50 years. In Europe, we live 10 years longer, so we have to work longer. This is not very opportune for politicians to say, but this is something which we have to adapt our life expectancy to the working age. And this is that all our laws and our legislation is adapted only to 65, 70, but not to 80, 90, 100, which is now the case. And when we use all these three, women, youngsters, and those who don't go early to retirement, we still need people in European labor market. And then there is fourth pillar, which is legal migration. So human capital is precious, and unfortunately we miss this human capital. We have a projection. If each and every European woman in the next 5 years who is in reproductive age would have 5 kids. I don't know whether it's biologically possible, but in 5 years, 5 kids. If this happens, these kids will be ready for labor market in 20 to 25 years. In the meantime, China, India, our allies in America, they are booming, and European competitiveness is being decreased. And this is the reason why we badly need people and human capital.
Yeah. On this population decline in the EU, what are the reasons, and are there regional disparities?
There are regional disparities, but the reasons are sociological, philosophical. There is no black and white reply. There are disparities, but there is no silver bullet to change this.
Right.
So there should be a set of measures in order to change this. But as I told you, it can't be changed in a year or two. It's long-term. This is long-term objective of the European Union. We have to work on it. Disparities, for example, if you look at Baltic states, in Finland, they have the lowest birth rate at the moment. Although they are very rich,
yeah.
they have all standards. So depends on women, depends on their. I cannot reply to this question, as I said, in white and black manner.
I totally understand that. All right, Dubravka Šuica, EU Commissioner for the Mediterranean. Thank you so much for a great Europe conversation.
Thank you for having me.